Hello all. So I'm here to demonstrate the progress in our project of indoor localization. So in this project, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to model a given surface, that is a given room, and then we are trying to get all the received signal strength from that particular room, from which we'll try to identify the location of an object within an area. So in this case, we have already created a 3D room model for a basic environment. So what we would do is that we have loaded the object file with the material properties of each surface within the room, and then we use a free space path loss model in this case, and we perform ray tracing for the given room to find the RF signal strength. Yeah. So while calculating the signal strength, we make sure that we consider the reflected energy which is being lost, the refraction which is occurring in the room, and the diffraction which is happening within the room. Yeah. So after taking everything into consideration, we find the RSSI for that particular point, and then we plot it in a map. So here I have the map. So this is the combined RSSI structure of the room. So the minimum value that we are getting is around minus 30 dBm, which is near the sources, and minus 44, which is the highest for our given room. So now we'll dive into the Android Studio part from where we will receive our data, which is being sent to AWS. Yes. In, uh, in our code, we have designed a Android app from which we'll collect all the RSSI value in a particular point from 3 access points. And then we use the AWS endpoint URL. In this case, we have defined our EC2 instance to be the endpoint. And we have also defined a API key for it. Sorry, not defined. We have created an API key for AWS. So from here, whenever we have a change in our IMU sensor, we note down the XYZ coordinates here. Here we create a JSON object which is put in a HTTP packet. We return the RSSI value, the SSID of the router which has this particular RSSI value, and then we send this payload. So the UI for the app will be something very similar to this. It's a very simple app of just sending data to AWS to collect the RSSI data that we have at hand. So this is a sample Blender model of our room. So in this room, we have marked the metallic properties and the material properties. We have marked the material properties of the different faces of the room. We also have a object in the room, which is a metal stand. We try to simulate the points from x comma 0 comma 0, 0 comma y comma 0, and 0 comma 0 comma z. So in this part of the video, we see the recording of the data. We have 3 different access points which is being used to collect the RSSI data here. Yeah. So while collecting data, we have the JSON object which looks very similar to this thing. It's very similar to this. So after receiving the data, we perform pre-processing in such a way that we remove all of the unnecessary SSIDs that are a part of the original JSON object. We remove them and then we predict the location using our ML model here. So for now, I'll try to simulate the behavior of the received data. That is the Android app here. I've already tested it here. We can see the predicted location here, which is being printed. I can show the demo of the app working through our through a postman request. So here I have already typed in a basic 3 object request with three different SSIDs. So I'll be sending this to our instance. Yeah. So we can see that it has already given us a prediction with a different value for a different set of RSSI values, which is being printed here. Now we'll deep dive into the Flask code for our backend. Yeah. So in this application, we are defining a pre-processing function. So here I've defined three different SSIDs that are of interest to me because we are using three different access points with three phones. So we have different SSIDs. So in this case, we filter out the specific SSID that we need for our use case, and then we save the RSSI vector, which will be used for prediction. So we have also trained a model which takes in the data that is being given from the ray traced model. So here we can see that we have a data set of XYZ coordinates and the RSSI vectors. So this data is used to train a model, and the model is being loaded here. We also scale the input to accommodate the change in data. So we have written different API routes to first check the functioning of the API. We're using the predict route to send our request here. So we also add security checks to make the server manageable. Like we are making sure that we don't have any errors here, and we also make sure that it gets handled properly. So here is where we get our input data, which is being transformed here, and then we predict it out here. So we compose a response, and we give out the prediction values here, and the input receiver, the RSSI vector that we got, which is being printed on the screen as we saw earlier. Yeah. So this is the workflow of our application till now. From here, we would like to develop a model which would automate the process of doing this RSSI mapping, that is generating the RSSI map with as a 3D model, and we would incorporate this in our system. That's all for now. Thank you so much.